Force, the Jedi. All of it. It's all true.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Star Wars Fiction. I hope everyone has been doing well. I want to start by giving you guys a big thanks to those of you that are subscribers and that helped get our channel over 100 subscribers. That was a milestone and a big deal to me. It made me feel really accomplished as a new content creator. If for some reason you haven't subscribed, let me be the first to tell you that you're missing out. I'm going to be launching a Discord server where we can talk about the fan fictions after they come out, as well as anything else Star Wars that you guys want to talk about as well. So, don't miss out, and hit that red subscribe button with the bell notification icon so that you can also be first to know when a new video is released. Now my friends, let's get on with this fanfiction story, but if you haven't seen the other 9 parts, do us both a favor, click the card above you, start at part 1, and work your way back here, so that it all makes sense. And now, without further delay, let's make the jump back into our fanfiction story. We find ourselves back on the planet of Naboo in the royal capital of Theed. Luke is barely managing to deflect what seems like hundreds of blaster bolts as he is covering for Leia and Inferno Squadron members Iden Versio and Del Meeko to take cover in the palace. So far, they have been outmatched by Imperial forces significantly. Luke had already tried to ask his father for reinforcements, but the Empire had managed to blockade Theed, which forced him to go up against 2 Star Destroyers, while Admiral Versio and the Eviscicator managed to launch an attack on the satellites. "Protect your sister at all costs, Luke," Anakin told him. "I will manage the battle from up here." Luke acknowledged his father as he deflected a blaster bolt at the nearest infantry officer, killing him. "I'm pulling back!" Luke shouted, turning to run, knowing the temporary distraction he had caused by killing their commander. Soon they would be in pursuit, but at least they had a palace to protect them. For now. "Your plan had better work," Luke told Leia as he caught up with her. "Well, you and Iden are going to hold them off from here, while Del Meeko helps me activate the secret weapon," she said, breathing heavily. Luke drew in on the Force, using it to help him recover his stamina for the immediate fight that lay ahead. "The Force will guide you, Leia, only if you believe in it," he told her, smiling. "Han says otherwise," she retorted back as her and Del Meeko took off towards their only hope of defeating the Empire. Now above the planet of Naboo, we find Anakin Skywalker inside another TIE fighter, leading a squad of the Dauntless's best pilots. As his ship maneuvered with speed and precision through the enemy fighters, he could tell it was hard for his squad to figure out who was really on their side. For the 3rd time now, he had tried to contact the Admiral of the enemy Star Destroyer, but there was no reply. It was as if communications had been purposely blocked. "Admiral Versio, what is your status?" Anakin asked the Admiral. He could sense that the seasoned officer was outmatched, and drawing on his experience to make up for it. "We are making progress, but not as fast as either one of us would have liked," he grunted as he saw more of his fighters being destroyed. "Let us hope the rebels show up as the princess had promised." "You must trust they're on their way," Anakin said, doing an advanced rolling maneuver to avoid 2 cluster missiles that had been launched at him by the Star Destroyer itself. This confirmed that they had been receiving his communications, but had chosen to ignore them. He couldn't help but reminisce to a similar time he had pulled off this very maneuver at the Battle of Coruscant, with Obi-Wan, and of course rescuing the Chancellor. No, Darth Sidious, the Shadow. All of a sudden, Anakin fell into a forced trance, and his hands began to get looser and looser on the controls of his starfighter. The face of Palpatine then appeared on a red-cloaked figure and hovered close to a man. He was already kneeling, awaiting his orders. The death of the Emperor was fresh upon his mind. Operation Cinder is to commence at once. Resistance, rebellion, defiance. These are concepts that cannot be allowed to persist. You are my most important tool, Gallius. You must not fail with the task you have been prepared for. The incompetent will be destroyed along with the rebellion, and you will give the coordinates to the remaining worthy to a new location in the unknown regions. Anakin's eyes then shot open, and he realized his mask was breathing heavily for him, as the suit's audio receptors picked up blaring alarms from the TIE fighter. Outside the viewport, he could see the Dauntless, which now looked as small as a fighter craft, with how fast he was now descending. The onboard computer displayed a flashing critical damage message. His comm was also going off. It was the commander of the Dauntless. "Lord Vader, are you there?" she asked.
Double your efforts on the fight ahead. I have been shot down, and I will rejoin you as soon as I can.
He tried his best to correct the fighter's course, but without any stabilizers and a broken wing, he knew it was no good. He was going to have to pull off a crash landing. No, he was going to jump out at the last second, a maneuver he hadn't performed since the Clone Wars. He reached for his lightsaber, only to realize he didn't have it anymore. It had probably been destroyed with the second Death Star. As the altitude meter got lower and lower, he knew he had to act fast. Drawing on all of his strength in the Force, he managed to force the roof off of the fighter from the cockpit. He then unstrapped himself and leaped with the Force upward. He saw his fighter then explode in a ball of fire beneath him as he roughly landed on a nearby rooftop in the city of Theed. Now, he would need to find a fighter from the palace hangar that he could use to return to battle. The Force vision of Palpatine that he had would have to wait. Leia and Del Meeko had never run faster in their lives before. All they knew is if they were to save Naboo and their friends, they would have to act fast. "According to the schematics, it could be down this corridor," he said, guiding the princess. So far, there had been no threat. They ran into the room and then quickly found the control panel. But before they could act, someone else turned the corner, and they came face to face with none other than Agent Hask, who was holding a gun to the Queen of Naboo's head. "You really thought a holding cell and some binders would keep me?" he asked, looking at Del Meeko. "When you and Iden betrayed me, you forgot to take my comp. So I heard about your little plan for Naboo, and how you wanted to stop the Empire." He smiled, pressing the gun deeper into the Queen's head. "It doesn't have to be like this," Del Meeko began. "Drop your guns now," boomed the agent as he fired a warning shot into the air. Leia then looked at Del Meeko, hoping that he could do something. But all of a sudden, Hask dropped his guns, and his hands flew to his throat. Mechanical breathing could then be heard.
I cannot allow that to happen.
Anakin then let his hold on the agent go, as he fell to his knees, gasping for air. "You're behind this, Vader?" he asked in shock.
I'm saving a planet that I should have a long time ago.
He then waved his hand in front of Hask.
You are to head to the Outer Rim, and never leave there again.
Just like an obedient droid, Hask then looked up for a second, and scurried out of the room. A look of fear still resonated on the Queen's face as Leia pressed the switch to activate the ion pulse. "That should deactivate their weapons," she said nervously, looking up at Darth Vader.
I once served as Queen Amidala's protector,
he offered, bowing his head. As he looked up, he caught a brief look of surprise on Leia's face. The Queen then finally connected the dots as she let off a small smile, but then it quickly began to fade. "Damn you for killing her," she said as she strode past the suit of Darth Vader quickly. Leia did her best to avoid eye contact with him as well, as she said a quiet thank you as she passed him. Del Meeko, of course, showed his respects, having served with Darth Vader on previous missions.
Come, agents. Your efforts are needed in getting back to the Corvus and helping Admiral Versio destroy the remaining satellites,
Anakin said, quickly following Leia and the Queen to get to Luke. Luke, who had just deactivated his lightsaber after hearing the ion pulse was activated, then turned to see Leia and the Queen, as well as his father, not far behind them. "Are you okay?" he asked, running to her. She gave a brief smile, and then looked at the Queen as Anakin approached behind them. "It seems your father saved the Queen and I from Agent Hask," she said loud enough for Iden to hear. Anakin did his best to ignore the half-compliment, half-insult.
Protecting my children is the least I could do to make things up to your mother,
he said, looking at Luke and then the Queen. She then finished making the connection and looked at Leia. She gave a brief smile back to her to confirm her suspicions. Anakin then looked at the Queen.
As you have concluded, Luke and Leia are the children of Queen Amidala and Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker. I chose the dark side to try and save her from death in my visions, which is what killed her in the end. Palpatine was behind everything, including my fall to the dark side.
The Queen looked at Luke and Leia before looking back at Anakin. Your marriage to our former queen is one of the most well-guarded secrets on Naboo. We all knew she had feelings for you, Anakin. Her family still hasn't stopped talking about the two of you. They even knew she had a baby, and that another Jedi hid him away. We just didn't know they were twins, she said, finally smiling. So who still lives here on my mother's side? Luke then asked the Queen, wanting to know more answers before they had to leave and assist in the battle above Naboo. But before the Queen could answer the young Jedi's question, Anakin received an incoming transmission.
What is your update, Admiral Versio?
Communications were being blocked on the surface until just now, and I was unable to reach you. The battle is in a stalemate, despite us being outnumbered. Strangely, the Magnificent showed up a couple hours ago, with Grand Admiral Rey Salone.
I am returning immediately,
Anakin began to say, but was again interrupted by the Admiral. She came with orders from Masameda to assist us, who is the default ruler of the Empire, until we can establish your legitimacy. She immediately launched her fighters and engaged an enemy Star Destroyer. Anakin had a strange feeling about the Grand Admiral, but he couldn't figure it out with everything else going on in the moment. He would have to meditate on this.
Continue to monitor the Admiral.
Understood, sir. You should know that the Rebel fleet has also just arrived. They are making contact now, and with their help, the battle should be wrapped up soon.
Very good,
Anakin said, looking back to Luke.
There is an important matter with the Queen that we must attend to while we are here. Have the Grand Admiral make contact with me when the final satellite has been destroyed. We will play along with her for now.
The Admiral acknowledged Anakin's request, and then cut the transmission. Anakin could feel everyone's attention now on him, and could sense a hint of irritation, as well as curiosity, from Leia, although she hid the latter of the two quite well.
If we may, Your Majesty, I wish to show my children the heritage while we are here on Naboo,
Anakin said. The Queen let off a small smile. I can make contact with Queen Amidala's family and arrange a dinner for this evening, she offered. At this point, Leia's anger had gotten the better of her. Perhaps it's best if Darth Vader isn't present for this, she suggested in a cold tone. Before Luke or anyone else could interject, Anakin responded.
It is best that it be the two of you that meets them,
he offered.
I have somewhere else that I need to go. Just tell them.
But Anakin couldn't finish the sentence, and had to cut himself off before the vocalizer on his mask picked up the sound of his crying. He instead turned, placing his hand on Luke's shoulder briefly, and then headed down the stairs of the royal palace, with his cape bellowing in the wind behind him. Let me just say, that last part was hard to write. And I'll be the first to tell you I like where this story is going, and I hope you guys do too. Please make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it, my friends, and most importantly, please talk to me in the comments below. Tell me what you thought and how you would like the story to go. For all you know, I just may use your idea. Please stay tuned as I am releasing part 11 next week for you guys, as I really want to keep writing the story, as I'm super excited to see where it finally ends. Yes, that means I have 4 ways it could go, but I'm wanting you guys to influence the way it goes as well. Until next time, my friends, stay safe out there, and may the Force be with you, wherever you may be, in the galaxy, far, far away.
Ashley, what you have